You've got two very powerful, it seems, moderates in the Senate who are not going out of their way to make their president look good.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. We lead the week with CBS Mornings tying volcanic eruptions and tsunamis to climate change.
Now we're going to take you to the Pacific nation of Tonga, which is devastated after a massive undersea volcanic eruption. This satellite image shows a neighborhood in Tonga as it looked last month. And here's what the area looks like now.
Wow.
Look at this.
Wow.
Covered in a thick coat of volcanic ash, 3 of its smaller islands suffered serious damage from tsunami waves that reached almost 50 feet high. Those pictures tell the story.
We talk about climate change quite a bit. And these stories are a harsh reality of what we're going through. And we have to do our part because these are more frequent.
Yes.
Yeah, prevent those once-in-a-lifetime eruptions. I'd like to do my part by placing Leftist Network studios on top of some volcanic openings, just to plug them up. I'm sure that would work, right? Well, it might actually be a waste of time. As the Smithsonian says, there's not any evidence volcanic activity is actually increasing. Just don't tell CBS.
Talk about climate change quite a bit. And these stories are a harsh reality of what we're going through. And we have to do our part because these are more frequent.
What actually is increasing this week is the leftist media attacks on Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema for refusing to fall in line with their caucus and vote along with other Democrats to nuke the filibuster.
You've got two very powerful, it seems, moderates in the Senate who are not going out of their way to make their president look good.
That's the purpose of a legislative body, to make the president look good, right? It's not that Biden looks bad on his own at all. They're not making him look good with those extremist ideas of wanting to preserve the republic.
So what can Senator Manchin say other than the fact that he is an extremist? Him and Senator Sinema are extremists, and anybody that's hiding behind them are extremists. Because when you want to put your political concerns over democracy, when you serve in some of the highest offices of the land, then something is wrong with you. And that is why I do believe firmly that the president, not only the vision of FDR, but he got to take the message and the spirit that FDR had. Call out these folks. Say, I welcome your hatred. Gas up the jet. That's what the president should do. Take it to the streets.
Well, Biden's going to take it to the streets now. He's going to brawl Corn Pop over this.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
I love how Manchin and Sinema are extremists for going against their party's president.
Him and Senator Sinema are extremists.
But when it's a Republican that goes against his party's president, the leftist media can't but just heap on praise.
Tonight, voting his conscience over his party.
The Mitt Romney decision is a fascinating one for this reason. He is now the president of the Republican resistance to Donald Trump.
He put politics aside.
That was a true profile and courage speech.
Why can't Manchin and Sinema just be the leaders of the Democratic resistance to Biden's authoritarian federal takeover of elections? It's strange that the media won't frame it that way.
The maverick John McCain delivers the final blow to his party's health care fight.
The 80-year-old senator delivering a powerful wake-up call to a dysfunctional Congress.
But if you go against Biden's will and expect really unreasonable things like people have to show ID when they're voting, well, then you're heading down the road to dystopia.
Listen, this is part of the big plan. This is part of the big plan to control what happens in America. I believe what happens in America. If you take those voting rights away, people are going to be so angry, but there'll be nothing they can do about it because we're in charge. Next thing comes the women. We're going to take your rights away, just like we're taking X, Y, and Z, because there'll be nothing you can do. This country seemingly, or many people in it, seemingly want to be manipulated.
I was going to say to destroy it.
Well, I don't know if they realize that it will be destructive. Because listen, when we talk about anti-Semitism and we talk about Anne Frank and we can't teach what happened to black people and we there's all kinds of stuff that's suddenly starting to disappear now. This has been going on for quite some time, as you know.
Yeah. I was going to say, I read a lot about what's going on in the world, and Hungary and Poland, and they're doing very badly with freedom of speech. They now have, like, let's say the autocrat who's running gets like 90% of airtime, the other one gets 10%. They are, censoring journalists. That will happen here.
Yeah.
That will happen here, I think, if the Republicans are back in power.
There's certainly no censorship going on right now, right? I mean, just ask YouTube. That pain-inducing segment brought to you by Bear. Give them a call to discuss the insanity that they sponsor. Now, that was insane, but it's not as insane as the links that leftists had to go to in an attempt to protect Biden from his terrible press conference this week.
The voter who is just trying to figure out, as I said, how to take care of their family, put 3 squares on the table, stay safe, be able to pay their mortgage or their rent, etc., is becoming much more informed on the
that conference was about as bad as his presidency, unless you're Joe Scarborough.
This morning, Politico and Morning Consult has new polling out on Biden's first year. What does it tell us?
What we found was a little bit alarming for Biden, which is a lot of people gave him an F. On the issue of unity, he got an F by 40% of the public on that grade.
Yeah, these grades, not great right now.
The majority of the country giving you failing grades across the board, that's not great. It's also not great to tell the world that Russia invading Ukraine is okay, depending.
It depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, etc.
MSNBC doesn't put much stock in what Biden says or what the polls have to say about him. They just love him.
Joe Biden misspoke, which, by the way, for those that say, oh, well, this is because Joe Biden is, losing his mental facilities. Where have you been for the past 40 years? This is just Joe Biden. Give Joe Biden 2 hours. He's going to start talking about 7-Eleven stores and who's clean and who's not clean. I mean, it's just Joe Biden. By the way, we're going to be showing an NBC poll. He's at 44%. I mean, I'm really growing tired of people doing their analysis on where he is in January of 2022. It is just extraordinarily irrelevant.
He's also a victim of very, very overblown expectations.
That's it, the expectations of the supporters. Of course, the supporters are the leftist media.
So another thing I thought in the inaugural address, the beginning had a little bit of soaring rhetoric, a teeny bit at the end. In the middle, it sounded almost like a homily to me. A breaking down of all this big language into very simple, colloquial terms. I'm just talking to you. I'm in this vaunted position, but like a priest explaining something from the Bible.
He is going to want to figure out a way to put his arm around some of these folks in a way, even frankly, when they don't deserve it.
Unity, the theme of the day, the theme of this inaugural ceremony, the theme of Joe Biden's presidential campaign, clearly going to be the early theme of his presidency. He said, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together.
Expectations.
Do you want to be on the side of Dr. King or George Wallace? Do you want to be on the side of John Lewis or Bull Connor? Do you want to be on the side of Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis?
What a unifier, huh? Darn those expectations. I'm Eric Shiner from MRC-TV, asking you to head over to the MRC Store, do some shopping for some great conservative gear. MRCTV.org is the place you want to go for the latest in information, entertainment, and videos. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to us on the social media platform of your choice. Remember, Rumble has all of our videos right now. Selective content is only available on YouTube. We'll be back next week with more leftist media insanity.